Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this platform on the occasion of the 9th Symposium. I'm Lieutenant Jai, member of the Navy's Communication Unit. It's an honor and a privilege for me to welcome today His Excellency Mr. Obinna Chukwuemeka, Deputy Executive Secretary for Political Affairs of the Gulf of Guinea Commission. Your Excellency, welcome and thank you for granting us this interview. With your permission now, I would like to begin with my first question. How does the Gulf of Guinea Commission plan to adapt regional maritime governance in response to evolving transatlantic threats?
Okay. First and foremost, the Gulf of Guinea Commission is an intergovernmental organization bestriding two regions in Africa. In English alphabetical order, the Central Africa and the West Africa. It deals particularly with the maritime domain regimes. It's a regulatory mechanism, framework, so it deals with the legal and policy issues. It promotes cooperation among the member states. It ensures that they have commonality in the exploitation of the resources in the deep sea bed and then the sharing regimes. It also ensures the safeguarding and security of the maritime domain of the Gulf of Guinea. Naturally, this should span from Senegal and Cabo Verde all the way until Angola. So it is open to the 19 coastal states in the Gulf of Guinea and the six other states, 3 of them in Central Africa, that are not contiguous to the Gulf of Guinea, but they share continental waters with Central Africa. And of course, the 3 other states in West Africa, namely the Sahelian states, who don't share maritime boundaries or continental waters with the Gulf of Guinea, but depend on the Gulf of Guinea for practically for their existence. They are trading, shipping needs, sustainability of their economy and all that. So it should be 25 in all. How do we assess the regional maritime governance in response to evolving transatlantic threats? The threats have been here with us for a while. Of course, you know the traditional threats of criminality, piracy, illegal, unreported, undocumented fishing, and recently illegal migration.
Yeah.
There is also the growing trade in narcotics and psychotropic substances, and then for some, particularly my home country of Nigeria, like bunkering, illegal transfers of oil, and then brigandage, kidnapping, banditry. And we suspect, this is yet to be proven, that a lot of the small arms and light weapons in the possession of some of the terrorist enclaves in West Africa might be coming from the sea. So there's a recognition to do more search and rescue operations and verification of vehicles and marking of vessels, lying at that route. And of course, in addition to that, the safeguarding of the international trade routes. So what do we do? So we have built up some regimes, and for us in the Gulf of Guinea, the Yaoundé Code of Conduct remains the most important legal framework for combating and rolling back those criminalities and the activities. However, we are witnessing 12 years of the Yaoundé Code of Conduct, and it's still a soft law, as most people call it, set of principles, voluntary in nature, governing. This is not sufficient. Even the Yaoundé Code of Conduct itself recognizes this, and in its Article 17, it provides that after 3 years, it should be reviewed and internalized with the local laws and national authorities of the 25 states in this region, and therefore migrated to a legally binding agreement. This has not happened. But in as much as it has not happened, it still remains the most veritable mechanism that we have, taking into account particularly that it doesn't stop at just safety and security. It also anticipates what we refer to now as the blue economy, basically exploitation of the deep seabed resources for promotion of sustainable development and well-being of the peoples in this area, and also protection of the environment, also known as rolling back the climate change, and then so given all this, so we operate within the ambit of those legal regulations, and we are making the efforts to make sure that all the member states and all the other states which are still to come within the regime of the Gulf of Guinea Commission, different stages of harmonizing and internalizing the Yaoundé Code of Conduct with their national legislations to give it a universal application and implementation. So we are working, of course, as you know, with so many transatlantic partners, but the relationship and partnership with these international collaborators is in a disparate way. They are signing agreements with different nationalities, with different mechanisms, with different sub-national, national, zonal, regional, inter-regional. We will have to function in a more effective and efficient manner if we had an aggregate like a pool, whereby there will be more accountability and transparency and clearly defined boundaries of who is doing what and who is giving what. And then even in asking for the cooperation and support, there will be an aggregation of what kind a needs-based request for this support and cooperation. So the cooperation and collaboration is going on, but there leaves a little bit of room to bring together, the kind of support and cooperation that we in the Gulf of Guinea region need, not just so. But the cooperation so far, so good.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. And given the strategies you just mentioned, what could be the possible mechanism for cooperation and coordination between the Yaoundé architecture and the Djibouti architecture, probably under the umbrella of the African Union or some other organization working on maritime security?
Firstly, the Yaoundé Code and architecture and this security borrowed heavily from the Djibouti Code of Conduct and architecture. Earlier, we didn't have this challenge of piracy and criminality, but when the international community paid a lot of attention and focused on the Djibouti region, that is the Gulf of Aden, so they sort of dispersed the pirates and the criminals, and they made easy way into the Gulf of Guinea region. And now, whereas it is going down in the Gulf of Aden, it is now increasing in the Gulf of Guinea. So to answer that, the Yaoundé Code borrowed so much from the Djibouti Code, but it went a step further to address the issue of cooperation, sustainable economic development, prosperity, by looking at ways and means of exploring together and exploiting together and sharing the rich hydrocarbons and the fish and the other aquatic benefits and this thing. So there is no, outside the origins, there is no defined lines of cooperation between the two codes and between the two regions. Rather, they are offshoots of the African Union, African Integrated Maritime. Okay, so because the AU is promoting, yes, we have an integrated maritime strategy, but these strategies have to be, the goals of the strategy has to be delivered by the regional mechanisms.
Finally, sir, shifting now from the policy and governance matter to a more specific point, I would like to ask you about your impression of this symposium and your stay in Dakar.
Thank you very much. I'm from Nigeria, and I'm 63 years old in next July, and I was a foreign service officer in the Nigerian Foreign Service for 35 years. I was ambassador to first Republic of Togo and subsequently Republic of South Sudan. And I retired in 2023 and attaining the mandatory retirement age of 60 years. And I joined the Gulf of Guinea Commission. So I'm very proud of the opportunity that the symposium has given to me to visit Senegal for the first time in 62 and a half years. It's a very proud moment for me. In Abuja in November last year, I was put in the same vehicle with the Chief of Navy of Senegal, and we struck up this friendship and conversation. And we discovered that we had a lot in common and we were very passionate about certain things. And then we continued to the symposium, at the 8th symposium in Abuja, and back, and we exchanged contact numbers, and then we decided to grow the relationship. So he gave me this opportunity to come here today. It's not mixed feelings, it's one of joy. Particularly, let me address the symposium that with today's presentation, we are able to make one concrete step, that is to articulate and decide to take action on governance of the Yaoundé security architecture at the highest political level. How to demonstrate to them that they have a responsibility and obligation to support, the navies, the different mechanisms, the different efforts and the frameworks that they're making. It's a great step. I'm not trying to take anything away from the previous symposiums, but I think this is a landmark symposium. And I thank the Chief of Naval Staff of Senegal for that, because if you look in the room, you'll see people from all walks of life, from the academia, from the Navy, from other national authorities, international authorities. You saw the list. It's a drawn, well-out list and very comprehensive in nature. And so no one should be surprised with the type of outcomes. It's overreaching the expected outcome. So it's a very huge success, even as it's going on. So I thank you.